The nail in the coffin was J.J. Weatherholt letting her rip and hitting a double in the gap.
You mentioned the coaching decision not to bunt in the 10th inning. Your first time having to deal with that one extra inning with the runner on second. If you didn't again today, if you had extra innings, would you change anything, or you like that approach?
It depends who's up, and who we have up behind them. So yesterday we chose not to. I ended up hitting Casarella. Didn't go as planned that way, but with him, I feel like I could do either one. But in any case, they found a way to win, and I'm very proud of that.
Last night, Jack Seppings got you through over 4 innings. How big was that ahead of having to pitch 18 innings today?
Well, it's really big. Jack's been very good all summer long. We're going to give him a chance to start here in a week or so. He just wants to pitch, and he's been nasty on the mound. He can throw all pitches in any counts anytime he wants, but he limited base runners. There was a couple innings that leadoff got on, but they never scored, and that's the type of pitcher he is. He doesn't worry about base runners. He just executes pitches to whoever's hitting, and it got us where we need to go.
Marty Lees here on the Acting Manager's Show. Having to pitch 18 innings today, what's the game plan?
Yeah, we have about 4 pitchers we consider available right now. We have some position players that might be, in store to get their debut in the Cape. We'll see how that goes, but I feel good about getting not only pitches but innings out of Sokol in the first game, and the same thing with Pierce in the second game.
Offensively, is there any concern after a long late night last night, coming back early and having to play 2 games today?
No. They got to do the exact same thing. So I love the energy we had in our dugout last night, and hopefully we can continue that energy. And one of these times we're going to play a straight 9. I mean, where everything's clicking, the offense, the pitching, the defense, and we'll be unstoppable, as most teams would be if you had all those things going at once.
Well, you got 2 chances to find that complete 9 today. Marty, best of luck in Game 1 of the doubleheader.
All right, thank you.
We'll send it back to Joe for the rest of the Anglers Extra pregame show.
But we'll see if Marty Lees and his squad can be unstoppable. Chatham has not strung together consecutive wins yet this season. It could do so today against the team that it beat yesterday, 6-3 over at Spillane Field in the Wareham Gatemen. All right, next up is Catch of the Day with Bryce Martin Grudgelonic.
Anglers Extra. Chatham on TRC. Cape Cod.
We're back here on the Anglers Extra pregame show. Andrew Selover joined by Bryce Martin Grudzelonic on Catch of the Day ahead of Game 1 of a doubleheader here at Veterans Field between Wareham and Chatham. Bryce, yesterday, a 2-for-5 day for you at the plate. Couple hits in back-to-back games. What's been the key thing for you at the plate here once joining Chatham and Cape Cod?
Just staying consistent with my approach, and just staying with it and not really making too many big adjustments, just little adjustments day by day, and it's been paying off, so it's been good.
You played a couple of games in the Appalachian League before coming here to Cape Cod. What's the biggest difference that you've seen between those 2 leagues?
I'd say the players out here are it's a much higher level of competitiveness and talent, and I'm just happy I'm out here.
Last night, a lot of energy out of the Chatham first base dugout helped to a 10th inning win over the Gatemen. Where did all that energy come from?
I think, I don't know, I think it might have been a little built-up energy from the past few days, the close losses, and just kind of fed up with it, so kind of let it all out last night, and hopefully keep it going.
Trying to keep it going against Wareham again today. Yep. For you, obviously, just about a weekend. What's been your favorite part about the Cape League so far?
Just meeting all these new guys and just being around the best is awesome. It's cool to make these relationships and just for the future and whatever, it's cool.
I saw you talking to Gavin Mez a couple minutes ago, going to be joining you at USC next season. What were you telling him?
We were just talking about living situations and just chatting it up. We just met each other, so looking forward to spending next year with him too.
You made the move from UCLA to USC. What sparked that decision, and how was your first year with the Trojans?
Yeah, I got hurt my freshman year, and it just wasn't a fit for me. And I was blessed to get an opportunity with Stanky and USC, and I love it, every bit of it. So I'm thankful for that.
Early game today, 1 p.m. first pitch. We saw a bunch of guys rolling in with their Dunkin' coffee. Are you a coffee guy in the morning?
Maybe every once in a while. I mean, dabble in for the taste, but nothing too much.
Okay, Bryce, not a huge coffee guy, but did you drink any this morning to get you going?
Yeah, I had one. JJ got one, so I kind of felt like I needed to get one too. So.
All right, a lot of coffee going around in the dugout here at Veterans Field, getting ready for first pitch between Wareham and Chatham. Bryce, thanks so much for the time.
Thank you.
We'll send it back to Joe for the rest of the Anglers Extra pregame show.
Bryce Martin Grudzolanek was not on Chatham's roster when Chatham originally battled Wareham on June 10th. Only one substitute for Chatham in the lineup today. Tyler Wolfert goes into right field for Lyle Miller-Green. A pretty easy job for acting manager Marty Lees. We'll get to that full starting lineup and today's pitching matchup coming up next right here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network.
Anglers Extra. Chatham on TIC. Cape Cod.
Cape Cod Healthcare is proud to be the official healthcare provider of the Cape Cod Baseball League and shares a reminder that blood donated to Cape Cod Healthcare stays on Cape Cod. Help save the lives of your friends, family, and neighbors. Learn more at capecodhealth.org/blood center. Cape Cod Healthcare. Caring, commitment, community. Chatham A's baseball is on the air right now.
Swings and hits one to left center field. Back goes McFadden. He will not get there. It's a home run. A grand slam for Todd Frazier.
Chugging into second base with an RBI double is Evan Longoria. He is 4 for 4.
Hit on the ground, left side. Will it get through? Off Crawford and into center field. Federovic scores and Chatham wins it in 11. The game-winning hit from Seager. It's a 5-4 Chatham winner.
And now, with your play-by-play, Joe Puccio and Andrew Selover.
From Veterans Field in Chatham, Massachusetts, today is game 28 of the Chatham Anglers season, and the Chatham A's are on the air. Today it's the Wareham Gatemen taking on the Chatham A's at 1 p.m. here at Veterans Field. The resumption of the July 10th matchup between the two squads that was fogged out. Alongside Andrew Selover, I'm Joe Puccio. Thank you for spending your Tuesday early afternoon with us. Chatham hasn't had a game start at 1 p.m. since 2019, and they do so today in 2023 against the Wareham Gatemen. Before we get into the starting lineups, we'll just tell you how this game is being resumed. So the game on July 10th was fogged out at 7:13 p.m., just 7 minutes after first pitch. The game was suspended, meaning that we resume at when the game was suspended. Nick McLean started the baseball game with a single. He stands at third base to start today's game, and then Garen Caulfield hit that fly ball into center that Zach McDonald couldn't sort out in the fog-filled sky. He stands on second base. So Wareham starts today's game with runners on second and third and no outs in a tied, no-score game between Wareham and Chatham. Does that make sense, Andrew?
Kind of. I think across 9 innings, we'll get the point there, right?
I think so.
It's a bit complicated, but there's a couple substitutions that have to be made as well because some of the players, that were in that starting lineup were not ready to play again today. They might have been released or what have you.
Wareham has two batters in the lineup that are substitutes. For Chatham, just one substitute, Tyler Wolfert, heads into right field. Let's get you those starting lineups presented to you by the Chatham Squire. For the Wareham Gatemen, led by manager Ryan Smythe at 11-17-2, 24 points, last place in the West Division. Here is what manager Smythe has written down on the lineup card. Nick McLean, the leadoff man, is the designated hitter for Wareham today. Once again, he starts today's game at third base. Batting second and playing second is Garen Caulfield. He starts the game as the base runner at second. Grant Hussey will be the first batter of the day, and he bats third. Batting fourth is Corey Morton, the right fielder out of Yukon, batting fourth. Batting fifth, the shortstop from Missouri, J.C. Cologne. Batting sixth, the left fielder from USC Upstate, Grant Sherrod. Batting seventh, Renee Lastris, the catcher out of Florida. Batting eighth from South Florida, the center fielder, Bobby Bozer. And batting ninth, the third baseman from Miami of Florida, Dorian Gonzalez. It's time for the national anthem here in Chatham. Let's send things over to our public address announcer, Peter Burns.
Please rise for this afternoon's national anthem. Let's welcome back Sergeant First Class Retired Sarah Anderson, who has performed in 48 states as a member of the Soldiers Chorus of the United States Army Field Band before retiring in 2013. With this afternoon's national anthem, Sergeant First Class Sarah Anderson.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the brave and the home of the brave?
Sergeant First Class Sarah Anderson with the national anthem, I should say, here at Veterans Field. Let's continue with the starting lineups presented by the Chatham Squire. We read off Wareham's lineup before the anthem, so we'll give you Chatham's lineup. At 8-18-1, the Chatham Anglers come into today's game at 17 points, last place in the East Division, led by acting manager Marty Lees, and this is what manager Marty Lees has put on for his starting nine. Leading off, the designated hitter, Xavier Casarilla from Seminole State College. Batting second and playing second from Vanderbilt, Chris Maldonado. In the three-hole, Oklahoma State left fielder Nolan Schubert. Batting fifth, the right fielder Tyler Wolfert from Oklahoma State. Batting fifth, the first baseman from Lipscomb, Trace Wilhoit. Batting sixth and playing at third base from Oklahoma State, Aiden Miola. In the seven-hole, from Miami of Ohio, center fielder Zach McDonald. Batting eighth and doing the catching, Jaden Melendez from Pittsburgh. And batting ninth, the shortstop from Florida, Derek Fabian. Just one substitute in Chatham's lineup from the July 10th game that was suspended. Lyle Miller Green, who was released from the team just a few days ago, he is taken out of the lineup for Tyler Wolfert, who will start in right field. Just one substitution for Chatham, two substitutions for Wareham, Corey Morton and J.C. Cologne. Once again, this game has been resumed from July 10th, meaning that we start today's game from the point when it stopped. So if you look out to the left center field scoreboard, it already reads that Wareham has no runs on 2 hits. That's because Nick McLean led off the game against Gabe Davis. He had a single. Garen Caulfield hit a double in the next at-bat. That baseball hung up into the fog, and so he is at second base. That's when the game was called due to fog. So Wareham has runners on second and third. Gabe Davis was the starting pitcher in that game. Gabe Davis is not the starting pitcher in today's game. Jack Sokol gets the ball for the Chatham A's, and that brings us easily into our Red Nun Bar and Grill pitching matchup. Jack Sokol taking the ball for the Chatham A's today, the right-hander from Pittsburgh. Jack Sokol has pitched 3 times so far on the Cape, 2 starts. Today is not officially a start for Jack Sokol because he's coming into relief for Gabe Davis. Sokol in 7 2/3 innings has a 12.91 ERA. Sokol has 5 strikeouts, 11 strikeouts and 5 walks on his line. Jack Sokol, the pitcher for the Chatham A's. Yoel Tejeda is the starting pitcher theoretically in today's game for Wareham. Tejeda was not the intended starter on the July 10th game against Wareham. That was Brett Wozniak. The official line for Wozniak, we can give it to you, no innings. That's an easy line for Wareham starting pitcher. But Tejeda is the starter for Wareham. He is currently warming up in the right field corner. The Chatham A's have taken the field for this 1 p.m. start against the Wareham Gatemen. Chatham in its home uniforms today, blue caps with the red A on front, white shirts, white bottoms, blue pinstripes that run from top to bottom. The Anglers' blue cursive written across the chest with the red number in the bottom right corner and a blue number on the back. The white pants held up by a royal blue belt and royal blue socks. As for the Gatemen, the road uniforms, a blue hat with a red bill, the cranberry W written on the front, blue shirts with gray pants, a navy blue shirt has the cranberry W logo on the top right corner, and a maroon number in the bottom left. The maroon number is also on the back. Those gray pants held up by a navy blue belt, navy blue striping on both sides of the pant leg, and navy blue socks. Chatham and Wareham resuming the game that was suspended back on July 10th due to fog. The game was called with runners on second and third and no outs in the top of the first inning. So a full 9 innings between Chatham and Wareham to resume today's game. Over 8 days in the making. 8 days ago, Tom Holliday was the manager. Lyle Miller Green was out in right field. 2 things have changed. Marty Lees is the acting manager, and Tyler Wolfert gets the start in today out in right field. Well, ready to go once again. Grant Hussey into the left-handed batter's box. Hussey the lefty against the righty Sokol. The first pitch. Called strike. No, on the outside corner. Heard a ha from the home plate umpire, but the pitch missed outside for ball 1. First pitch at 1:04 p.m. 75 degrees and sunny in Chatham. Time and temperature presented by the Chatham Athletic Association. 1-0 pitch is tipped back into Melendez's chest protector. 1 ball and 1 strike. Today is a day-night doubleheader for Chatham. The A's take on Wareham as we speak. And then at 7 p.m., the Falmouth Commodores roll into town. A 7 p.m. start time right here at Veterans Field. 1-1 pitch. Breaking ball misses outside, ball 2. Today's umpires presented by Audio Associates. Jeff Merzel is behind home plate. Mike Lum over at first base. And Mike Rabideau over at third. 2-1. Dips low. It's 3 balls and 1 strike to Grant Hussey. Left fielder from West Virginia. Batted in the 3-hole yesterday for Wareham in the Gatemen's 6-3 loss to the Anglers. Hussey was 0 for 4 with 2 Ks. Pitch. Good. Foul ball over our heads, high above diamond side third base line. 3 balls and 2 strikes to Hussey with runners on second and third and no outs. We're just getting underway here in this resumed game between Chatham and Wareham. Sokol, middle of the rubber. 3-2 pitch. Good. Hit foul right over the press box once again. 3 balls and 2 strikes to Hussey. Yesterday, Chatham played a 3-hour and 39-minute game against Wareham. Started at 6:01 at Spillane Field and ended at 9:40. A 10-inning, 6-3 Chatham winner. 3-2. Ground ball to the right side, Maldonado fields. He throws over to first to retire Hussey, and Nick McLean scores. It took 8 days for the Wareham Gatemen to score their first run in today's game. It's 1-0 Wareham in the top of the first. Garen Caulfield moves to third on the ground out to the right side of the infield. That earned run goes against Gabe Davis as Corey Morton stands in. First pitch, fouled back over the protective netting for strike 1.
It was interesting, Joe, talking to Marty Lees on how he would play this situation. Asked if he might think about a reliever to start the first, try and leave those runners on base. He just doesn't have the pitching today to do that.
0-1. Breaking ball. This is outside for ball 1.
And basically the message to Jack Sokol on the mound was, don't really worry about those two guys. If we get down 2-0, so what? Just don't let this become a big-time inning. Worry about the batters at the plate.
Pitch, cut on and missed. Morton way behind the off-speed pitch at 81 miles per hour from Sokol. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Morton from UConn, one of the 2 subs in Wareham's lineup. Chatham's infield hustles in for the pitch. Fastball misses high and inside. 2 balls and 2 strikes. We've seen a fastball, slider, and changeup from Sokol today. His fastball in the high 80s to start today's contest. 2-2. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. Revs up the fastball at 90 to set down Corey Morton for the second out.
And Joe, if you can get out of this inning with 1 run allowed, you really take that if you're Chatham.
I know one guy that'll be smiling in that dugout, Gabe Davis.
Not even sure if he's here right now, to be honest with you. Is he? There he is.
He's the 3rd man to the right by Dustin Williams and Todd Shelton.
A couple of pitchers were late arriving today.
First pitch to J.C. Cologne. Slider dips outside for ball 1. Artie Lees also said that some position players are ready to throw, right, Andrew?
Caden Kent, Xavier Casarilla, Chris Maldonado, all ready if needed.
1-0 pitch. Fastball right down the middle for strike 1. I mean, if they can throw the baseball hard across the infield, you have to think that it correlates well on the mound. 1-1 pitch. In the zone for strike 2. Change up at 83 miles an hour at the knees to J.C. Cologne.
And the other thing is, Kent, Maldonado, both freshmen, they're not far away from their pitching days in high school as well.
The 1-2 pitch. Line drive, left field, Schubert hustles in, makes the catch, 3 steps to his right. And that ends the first inning. The A's get out of the first inning by allowing just 1 run on 2 hits, but those 2 hits came just over a week ago. Grant Hussey started the game, grounded out to Chris Maldonado at second to bring home Nick McLean for the first run. Then Corey Morton struck out swinging, and J.C. Cologne flied out to left to retire the side. The Gatemen score 1 run on 2 hits, no errors in the field, and just 1 runner left on base. It's Wareham 1 and Chatham coming back in the bottom of the first inning right here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network.
Sports Radio, play-by-play. Go A's! Chatham on TRC.
Bottom of the first inning here at Veterans Field. The Gatemen have a 1-0 lead over the Anglers in this resumed contest. Game 1 of a doubleheader for Chatham. The Anglers battle Wareham as we speak, and then at 7 p.m., Chatham welcomes Falmouth. A 6:40 Anglers Extra pregame show as always, but after Game 1, we'll have an extended Anglers Extra postgame show. No, we won't be on the air for over 10 hours today, but we will give you some extended post-game coverage right here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network.
Yeah, Joe and I have to go eat some food in between games.
That's right. Bottom of the first inning, Chatham comes up to the plate for the first time today, and here is the Anglers lineup as we read off to you pregame. Xavier Casarilla leads things off, the DH. Batting second, Chris Maldonado, the second baseman. Batting third, Nolan Schubert in left field. Tyler Wolfert, the right fielder, is in the cleanup spot. Trace Wilhoit bats fifth, playing first base. Ada Miola bats sixth at third base. Zach McDonald, the center fielder, bats seventh. Jada Melendez is the catcher, batting eighth. Derek Fabian is the shortstop, batting ninth. This lineup was originally constructed by then-manager Tom Holliday. All acting manager Marty Lees had to do was make one substitution. He brings Tyler Wolfert in for Lyle Miller-Green, who was released from the team a few days ago. Yoel Tejeda is the starting pitcher for Wareham. The righty works from the windup. His first pitch hits Casarilla in between the twos on his back. A 97-mile-an-hour fastball to the back is how Xavier Casarilla starts today's game. Tejeda now faces Chris Maldonado with a runner on first and no outs. Today is Tejeda's 6th appearance of the season. Once again, he doesn't get credit for the start because Brett Wozniak was originally the starting pitcher for Wareham back on July 10th. His final line is simply 0 innings. First pitch to Maldonado, swing and a miss for strike 1. Tejeda has a 5.78 ERA. He's pitched 9 innings in a third with 7 Ks and 8 walks. Righty on righty battle. Tejeda's 0-1. Cut out and missed. Slider at 83 miles an hour dipped below the zone. Maldonado's down 0-2. Maldonado last played 3 days ago in Falmouth. He was 1 for 5 with 3 strikeouts. Tejeda's 0-2. Skips in the dirt. Lastris blocks it behind home plate. Casarilla stays at first. 1 ball and 2 strikes to the Vanderbilt second baseman.
It'll be interesting to see the energy throughout the course of this game, Joe. Last night, these two dugouts were on fire in the late stages of the game. The Chatham dugout told me this morning it's a little too early to have that much fun, but they're going to try and bring the energy again.
1-2 pitch. Foul tipped into the mitt for strike 3. Maldonado out in front of the slider. It tipped and landed in Lastris's glove. First out in the bottom of the first. Well, who knows? If Chatham scores runs here in the bottom of the first inning, the A's might not need coffee or caffeine or anything to energize that third base dugout. Maybe a blast from Nolan Schubert would help. He stands in to the left side of the plate. Runner on first and 1 out. Wareham leads 1-0 here in the bottom of the first. Tejeda from the stretch. Changeup called strike. 0-1.
The other interesting fact is what the two managers decided to do with the pitching situation. Chatham went with more of a starter in Sokol. Tejeda, a big bullpen guy for the Gatemen, rather, only expected to go maybe 2 innings to start this contest.
It's a game of chess for Marty Lees today as well. Having to create 2 rotations. 0-1. Fastball misses outside, 1 ball and 1 strike. That's why we mentioned it in the top of the first inning that you could see some position players throwing late into this game so the Anglers can save some arms for the Falmouth game at 7. Today's game starting at 1:04 p.m. Been a few years since that happened. 1-1 pitch. Misses outside for ball 2. Last time Chatham played at Veterans Field at 1 o'clock was July 30th, 2019. It was an 8-5 loss to the Brewster Whitecaps here at Veterans Field. 2-1 pitch. Line back to the screen, foul. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Caught up with Brock Riley earlier today, and boy, he said that he was dog-tired. After a 3.5-hour game yesterday that went into the 10th inning, Chatham rallied back to win 6-3, then to take the hour and 10-minute drive back from Wareham. And Brock Riley even had to start the clinic today over at the Little League field. Tejeda throws to first. Casarilla slides back in safely.
Bryce Martin Grudzelanek told me ahead of catch of the day he's glad he's not in this starting lineup because he wasn't here to start this game when Chatham began against Wareham, and so he's only expected to play 9 innings, so a fairly routine day for him.
2-2 pitch. Check swing. Did Schubert swing? Peel down a second. No. A nonchalant. No sign from Mike Rabideau. Third base umpire standing in between second base and the pitcher's mound.
Rene Lastris, the catcher for Wareham, pointed himself down to third and then realized, oh, there's no umpire down there.
Here's what happens when there's 3 field umps. Full count offering. Here's the pitch. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. Nolan Schubert down on strikes. Took a cut at the fastball outside. Quickly, 2 outs. Xavier Casarilla still stands over at first base. He was plunked on Tejeda's first pitch of the day, but he hasn't moved from that first base bag after 2 strikeouts. Maldonado and Schubert, the 2 out victims so far here in the first. Here comes Tyler Wolfert, right fielder from Oklahoma State, into the right-handed batter's box. First pitch. Fastball, called strike, snap throw to first. Casarilla back in safely. Lastris popped out of his crouch. Because there wasn't a left-handed hitter, he could just pop up, zip one down to first base. Casarilla slid into the left side of the bag, putting his right hand on the left corner. He remains over at first base. The pitch was a strike to Wolfert. It's 0-1. Wolfert, the lone substitute for Chatham today. Originally, Lyle Miller-Green was the starting right fielder. The 0-1 pitch. Line drive, base hit into right field. Casarilla charges into second. He rounds second base. The throw comes into second, and Casarilla returns to the bag. 2 out single slap the other way for Tyler Wolfert. The Anglers have runners on first and second with 2 outs. Although it's 1 p.m., Chatham has some early energy in today's game. Moving base runners station to station in the bottom of the first. Trailing 1-0, the A's bring up Trace Wilhoit to the plate. Right-handed hitter from Lipscomb. The right-hander from Florida State, Yoel Tejeda, stares in to Lastris for the sign. From the stretch, first pitch, swing and a miss, strike 1. Here's Wareham's defensive alignment, presented by Short and Sweet Ice Cream. From left to right in the outfield, Sherrod, Bozer, and Morton. Third to first, Gonzalez, Colon, Caulfield, and Hussey. Lastris does the catching for Tejeda on the mound. Runners on first and second, 2 gone. Pitch. Heater on the inside corner for strike 2. 94 miles an hour on the gun from Tejeda against Trace Wilhoit, who's playing in his 5th game this summer with the A's. Wilhoit hasn't played since July 16th, where he went 0 for 2 with 2 strikeouts against Brewster. That game was rained out in the 6th inning. 0-2 pitch. Fastball, strike 3 on the outer half of the plate. That ends the inning. All 3 out victims recorded via the strikeout. Maldonado and Schubert swinging. Trace Wilhoit looking to end the frame. The Anglers score no runs with just 1 hit, no errors, and 2 runners left on base. Top of the 2nd inning coming up after this. It's 1-0 Gatemen on the Cape Cod Baseball Network.
Chatham on TRZ, Cape Cod.
Sweet Tomatoes Pizza, located right around the corner from Veterans Field at 790 Main Street in Chatham. Pick up a pie on your way to the game or grab a calzone before first pitch. The dough for their specialty pizza is rolled right before your eyes. Eat in or take out, 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. and sometimes later. Call 508-348-0200. See their full menu online at sweettomatoescapecod.com. Sweet Tomatoes, a Chatham pregame tradition.
Well, I came by your house the other day. Your mother said you went away. She said there was nothing that I could have done. There was nothing nobody could say. Now me and you, we've known each other ever since we were 16. I wished I would have known. I wished I could have called you just to say goodbye. Bobby G.
Top of the 2nd inning here in Chatham. It's 1-0 Wareham. The Gatemen scored their first run of the game in the top of the first. Grant Hussey's ground out that resumed today's contest scored Nick McLean from third base. The A's brought up 5 hitters in the bottom of the first with just 1 hit, but no runs to show for it. To start the bottom of the second, Grant Sherrod. First pitch from Sokol. Changeup misses outside for ball 1. Andrew Selover to my left. I'm Joe Puccio. The 1-0 pitch. Fastball. That's the outside corner. 1-1. Game 1 of this doubleheader for Chatham is a resumption of the fogged-out game against Wareham. 1-1. Cut on and missed. Slider runs to the outside part of the plate. Sherrod way out in front of it for strike 2. This game was first played on July 10th. 1-2. Knuckler over to Chatham's third base dugout. Dustin Williams barehanded it. Just a few steps away from the railing. Still 1-2 on Sherrod. Here's Sokol's 1-2, no. Jeff Merzell calls time before the pitch. Sokol working quickly here in the top of the second inning, but for Jeff Merzell behind home plate, it's a bit too quickly. Here's Sokol's 1-2 pitch. Slider bends into the zone for strike 3. Sherrod is set down looking to start the top of the second. Second strikeout of the day for Jack Sokol. Here comes Rene Lastris to the plate. This game originally started on July 10th. 2 hitters came up for Wareham in the top of the first. 8 pitches in, and the umpiring crew, led by Jeff Kinney behind home, called the game. First pitch to Lastris, called strike. That's the outside corner at the knee at 90. 0-1. 8 days later, the A's resume this game with the Gatemen. 0-1. Heater misses the top part of the zone. 1-1. Lastris, the catcher out of Florida, batting in the 7-hole. He did not play in yesterday's game against Chatham. 1-1. Cut on and missed. Slider at 77 miles per hour. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Lastris digs back in to the right-handed batter's box. 1-2. Heater just misses inches off the plate. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Lastris gets ready for the 2-2. High fly ball into left field. Schubert sprints in, straight away left, and he makes the catch. The glove on his left hand for the second out. Lastris got under the pitch, pulled it towards left field, but enough hang time for Schubert to stroll in from his post in rather deep left field to make the catch for the second out. Here comes Bobby Bozer from South Florida with nobody on and 2 outs. Today is Bozer's 26th game. First pitch. Misses low, 1-0. Bozer, a 200 hitter, 14 hits and 70 at-bats. 1-0. Slapped foul over Wareham's first base dugout. 1 ball, 1 strike. Bozer batted in the 9-hole yesterday. Was 2 for 4 with 2 singles. An all-star for the Gatemen. 1-1. Slider catches the lower part of the zone for strike 2. Sokol 1 strike away from a 1-2-3 inning. His 1-2 pitch. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Sokol gets the 1-2-3 inning with a slider on the outside part of the plate. Bozer fans on it to end the frame. 3 strikeouts on the day now for Jack Sokol. He set down Morton in the first inning swinging. In the second inning, he retired Sherrod looking, got Lastris to fly out to left, and retired Bozer swinging for the final out. Zeros across the board for the Gatemen. We'll move to the bottom of the second inning. Wareham leads 1-0 over Chatham on the Cape Cod Baseball Network.
Chatham on TRZ, Cape Cod. Well, I was born in a small town, and I live in a small town. Small communities. used to daydream in that small town. Another boring romantic, that's me. But I've seen it all in a small town. Had myself a ball in a small town.
Home half for the second inning here at Veterans Field. The Anglers trail 1-0 to the Gatemen. Miola, McDonald, and Melendez, 6, 7, 8 due up in the Anglers lineup against Yoel Tejeda, Wareham's makeshift starting pitcher in this resumed game. He works from the windup, first pitch. Fastball misses on the inner half, 1-0. Tejeda faced 5 batters in the bottom of the first inning, struck out 3. 1-0 pitch. Ground ball to the left side. Cologne fields the shortstop, guns it to first in time to retire Miola. That's the first out here in the second. Ground ball rolled to Cologne over at short. Took a few steps to his right to field the baseball. Threw it over with his right hand to first base. Grant Hussey caught the baseball for the first out. In stands Zach McDonald from the right side of the plate. As you hear his teammates say, "Come on, Ronald," as he digs in. First pitch. Skied to right field. Morton hustles over towards the right field line, and the right fielder makes the catch. Near foul ground. 2 outs. Yesterday, Chatham players were saying E-I-E-I-O every time McDonald stood into the batter's box. One of the many exhilarating things that the Chatham Anglers did in the dugout along the first base line yesterday. So much so that even Marty Lees was firing up his team to continue doing it, getting behind his players when they stood up to the plate. Here comes Jaden Melendez with 2 outs and nobody on in a 1-0 Wareham game. First pitch, fastball, misses upstairs for ball 1. The energy levels were palpable yesterday at Spillane Field. With a 1 p.m. start earlier today, the team said that those energy levels may be tough to reach. 1-0 pitch. Crushed. Down the left field line, trailing into foul ground. Sherrod hustles over, and he makes the catch over by Chatham's bullpen. And that retires the side. Long run for Sherrod. Posted up at normal depth in the left fielder spot. He made the catch about 40 feet to his left over by Chatham's bullpen in the left field corner. The A's are set down 1-2-3 in the bottom of the second. We'll go to the top of the third. Still 1-0 Wareham on the Cape Cod Baseball Network.
A's on the air.
Onward to the top of the third inning at Veterans Field. Still 1-0 Wareham in game 1 of a doubleheader for the Chatham A's today. Chatham battles Wareham with first pitch at 1:04 p.m., just nearly a half hour ago. And game 2 is tonight at 7 p.m. on the East Coast as Chatham takes on Falmouth at Veterans Field. First pitch to Gonzalez. Misses outside for ball 1. I'm Joe Puccio alongside Andrew Selover. We'll be with you almost all day here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. 1-0 pitch. In the air, out of play down the left field line. It's foul. 1-1 on Gonzalez. We have an extended Anglers Extra postgame show following today's game. Sokol's 1-1. Hard ground ball down the first base line. It just trickles foul at the last second. Put on a rope over by Trace Wilhoit on the first base line. Crossed over to the right before the first base bag. 1 ball and 2 strikes. At 6:40, we will hop back on the headsets for the Anglers Extra pregame show, and Chatham takes on Falmouth at 7. 1-2. Breaking ball skips low. 2 balls and 2 strikes. You can find this week's schedule on our website, chathamanglers.com. This is the first of 2 doubleheaders this week. 2-2 pitch. Knuckler right back to Sokol on the mound. Steps off, throws to Wilhoit at first in time to set down Dorian Gonzalez for the first out. The A's have a doubleheader at Eldridge Park on Friday against Orleans. Game 1 at 3:30 p.m. Game 2 at either 6:30 p.m. or a half hour after Game 1 concludes. Andrew and I will be on the air for the entirety of it. Order flips for Nick McLean. Let's take a look at ball 1 on the outside. 1-0. McLean, a switch hitter from Arizona State, hitting from the left side against the right-handed Sokol. 1-0. Popped foul down the third baseline. 1 ball, 1 strike.
And that's one of 2 doubleheaders against the Firebirds coming up, Joe. One is 2 games, 7 innings each.
1-1. Fastball misses outside, 2-1.
At Orleans, and then the Firebirds come to Veterans Field and play a doubleheader where it's like today, a resumption and then a full game.
2-1. Fastball misses north of the zone, 3-1.
And that resumption will be in the 4th inning, bottom of the 4th. Followed by a 9-inning contest.
3-1 pitch. Slider bends into the zone for strike 2. So if you have the schedule release out from January bookmarked on your website, you might just want to unstar that. The 3-2 pitch. Slider that's bounced to the left side. 3 hops to Fabian. The shortstop on his foot. Throws to first in time. Sets down Nick McLean for the second out. That was McLean's first at-bat of the day, but officially his second at-bat of the game. He started off this game on July 10th with a single. As we've mentioned, this game is a resumption from that July 10th contest that was fogged out in the top of the first. Quickly 2 set away. Here comes Garen Caulfield. Takes a look at strike 1 right over the heart. 1-0 Wareham in the top of the 3rd inning. The Gatemen scored today when Grant Hussey grounded out to score Nick McLean. Pitch. Swing and a miss. Way out in front of the off-speed pitch. 0-2. Which is funny enough because we can give you Gabe Davis's final line for today. Or I should say of this game, not today. As Sokol's 0-2 pitch is a slider. Dribbled to the left side. Foul. Zayden Miola fielded it to his right of the third base bag. Gabe Davis's line from this game is 0 innings plus, 2 hits, 1 run that's earned. Once again, wasn't the pitcher on the mound for that run. The 0-2 slider bends low and outside. 1 ball and 2 strikes. No walks and no strikeouts. Gabe Davis faced just 2 batters. Sokol's 0-2 pitch is tipped foul just over the protective netting behind home plate. Count remains at 1-2. Jack Sokol, air quotes, started this game. He's faced the minimum. 1-2. Hit foul right over Wareham's dugout on the first base line. Still 1-2. Sokol has 3 strikeouts today. He's recorded at least 1 punch out in each half inning. He hasn't done so yet in the 3rd. 1-2. Fastball just misses high. Counts even, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Infield, outfield straight away with the wind blowing out towards right center field. Sokol from the windup stares in at Melendez behind the plate. Pitch. Fastball runs high and tight. And the count runs full. 3-2. Nobody on, 2 outs here in the top of the 3rd. Righty on righty matchup. Payoff. Slider misses low for ball 4. Jack Sokol hasn't allowed a base runner today, except for Garen Caulfield, who works himself a full count walk to keep the top of the third alive. He stands on first with 2 outs. And here's Grant Hussey, the day's first batter. He grounded out to second for the first out in the top of the first. First pitch, skips low. Melendez blocks it. Ball trickles right in front of home plate. Fires back to Sokol, keeping Caulfield at first. A puff of white chalk came up into the air as Sokol gripped the slider tight. 1-0 to Hussey. Sokol collects his 1-0. Fastball called strike. Right near the 27 across Hussey's chest. 1 ball, 1 strike. Lefty from West Virginia at the plate. The right-hander from Pittsburgh on the mound. A historic rivalry. 1-1. Slider that's knocked foul right behind home plate. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Pitt and West Virginia had quite the football game in the fall. You remember that game, Andrew?
Overtime, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I believe it was the first college football game on the worldwide leader in sports from the fall, if I'm not mistaken. Thursday night game.
What do they call that game again? They've got a name for it.
1-2. Hard hit foul down the right field line. The name's escaping me. Good thing
It's the backyard something, I think.
Backyard brawl?
It might be that.
Good thing I have a computer to my right. It is the backyard brawl. Look at Andrew Selover, man. He knows his former Big East rivalries. 1-2 pitch. Tipped foul. Directly to the backstop behind home plate. 1-2. The distance between the rubber and home plate is equidistant to the distance from home plate to the backstop. Of the utmost importance for Melendez behind the plate. Sokol's 1-2. Crushed out towards right center field. McDonald hustles in, and the ball falls in front of him. Caulfield rounds second. He chugs into third. 2-strike, 2-out single for Grant Hussey prolongs the inning. The Gatemen have runners on the corners with 2 outs.
This is where that walk really comes back to hurt you, Joe. If you're Sokol, you got ahead of the batter at the time, Garen Caulfield, 1-2, and then came all the way back and walked him, follow it by a double, and that's at least increased the pitch count by 5, and it could continue to climb.
First pitch, Morton cuts and misses for strike 1.
And on a day where Chatham has to throw 18 innings, or at least 16 innings of pitches, then you don't want to.
0-1, swing and a miss. 2 consecutive change-ups high. Morton can't make contact. He's down 0-2.
You want Sokol to last as long as he possibly can out there on the mound before you go to the pen.
Sokol's 0-2. Runner goes. Check swing. Pitch misses low. Melendez doesn't throw to second. Grant Hussey steals second base as the 0-2 offering missed below the zone. It's 1-2 on Corey Morton, who struck out swinging in his first at-bat. 1-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. Strike 3, and Sokol gets out of the jam. 3 change-ups, puts down Corey Morton. Strikes out swinging to end the third. Wareham leaves runners on second and third to end the third. No runs on 1 hit, and 2 runners left aboard. We'll go to the home half of the third. It's 1-0 Wareham on the Cape Cod Baseball Network.
He's on the air. Long as I remember, rain been coming down, clouds of mist drip pouring, confusion on the ground. Could be through the ages, trying to find the sun. And I wonder, still I wonder, who'll stop the rain? I went down Virginia,
Home half of the third inning. Chatham Anglers come up to the plate, trailing 1-0 to the Wareham Gatemen. With Andrew Selover, I'm Joe Puccio. 2 games today at Veterans Field for the Chatham A's. Right now, the Anglers playing the Gatemen. At 7 p.m., Chatham hosts Falmouth, a day-night doubleheader for the A's. Make sure to join us at 6:40 for the Anglers Extra pregame show, 20 minutes before first pitch between the Anglers and the Commodores.
Fog might be a story of that one, Joe. When I got to the ballpark this morning about 9 o'clock, this field was unplayable because of how much fog was filling the outfield sky. Luckily, the sun came out and kicked it out of here, but could be an issue come 7 p.m. for the Doors and the A's.
75 degrees and sunny here at Veterans Field. Just a slight breeze out towards right field. It's cleared up the fog, and we're through 2.5 innings between Wareham and Chatham. Derek Fabian starts things off for the Anglers. Batters 9-1 and 2 due up for Marty Lees' crew. Tejeda on the mound, his first pitch. Off speed, catches the lower part of the zone for strike 1. Derek Fabian, a former member of the Wareham Gatemen. 0-1 pitch, slider, misses high, ball 1. Derek Fabian hit .211 in 31 games with Wareham last summer. He was in quite the ball game between Chatham and Wareham last summer. 1-1 pitch. Fastball, called strike at the knees, 1-2. A year and 5 days ago, Derek Fabian was the starting third baseman for Wareham when in the 5th inning, the lights didn't turn on at Spillane Field. He awaits the 1-0 pitch, 1-2 pitch. Skips low, falls in between Lastrus's legs behind home plate. It's 2-2. Derek said yesterday that it was the weirdest baseball game he's ever played in. That game resulted in a 5-5 tie between the Anglers and Gatemen. Here's the 2-2. Fastball right down the middle for strike 3. Fabian started to move his hands, but he kept his knuckles back as the fastball graced the strike zone. Fabian is punched out looking for the first out in the 3rd. Yoel Tejeda has recorded 4 strikeouts, facing 9 batters. Order flips for Xavier Casarilla. First pitch, fastball, called strike. 0-1. Casarilla was hit by a pitch in his first at-bat. 0-1. Swing and a miss. Healthy hack at the fastball. No balls and 2 strikes. Casarilla, the leadoff man for Chatham today. He awaits the 0-2 pitch. Slider, outside part, misses for ball 1. Just inches off the black. Casarilla came up as a pinch hitter yesterday. He was 0 for 1 with a punch out. 1-2. Slapped, looped, base hit down the right field line. Throw comes into second base. Casarilla threw his hands at the outside pitch, made contact, and the ball landed right past the first base bag into shallow right field. Casarilla records a 1-out single. Chatham has runners, just a runner on first with 1 out, trailing 1-0 to Wareham. Here comes Chris Maldonado on the right side of the plate. Tejeda from the stretch, first pitch, swing and a miss. 83-mile-an-hour changeup from Tejeda. Maldonado didn't make contact. 0-1. Maldonado struck out swinging back in the first inning. 0-1 pitch. Changeup dips low. 1 ball, 1 strike. Maldonado getting the start at second base today. As we mentioned earlier, he hasn't started since July 15th. Snap throw to first. Casarilla slides back in safely. last time that Maldonado started here at Veterans Field was July 3rd against Harwich, where he went 1 for 5 with a run and a strikeout. 1-1. Cut on and missed. 94-mile-an-hour fastball from Tejeda. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Andrew, he has nearly an 11-mile-an-hour difference between his fastball and changeup.
Yeah, and it's one of the most electric fastballs we've seen in a long time. Saw a similar heater last night from Will Koger, who entered late in the game out of the pen for Wareham as well.
1-2. Fastball misses upstairs. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
For Tejeda, it's all about how he can command that fastball. Last time out was not very effective, but so far today, he's been painting the corners against the Anglers.
Tejeda from the stretch, middle of the rubber. His 2-2. Popped up foul. Behind home plate. The count remains at 2-2. The Anglers didn't score until the top of the 7th inning yesterday, when Chatham plated 3 runs. Chatham would also score 3 runs in the top of the 10th to secure a 6-3 win over Wareham. 2-2. Bounced off of Maldonado's left foot. A foul ball puts Casarilla back towards first base. Tejeda gets a brand new baseball.
And you had a feeling that the offense might be a little slow to start this afternoon because no on-field batting practice, long nights last night for the fielders and the hitters typically lends towards a pitcher-friendly atmosphere, and so far that's been the case. Both Sokol, along with Tejeda, have enjoyed success early on, but just takes a couple swings to really energize the dugout. We saw that last night, Joe. Chatham started scoring in spurts, 3 in both the 7th and the 10th.
J.J. Weatherholt had that 2 RBI double in the 10th inning. We might see him in game 2 today. 2-2. Popped up, first base side, it lands foul. Hit off of Maldonado's handle. Hussey sprinted in from first base to attempt to make the catch, but the ball landed in the grass just to the right of the first baseline.
And don't be surprised either to see Weatherholt possibly pinch hit later in this first game, eyeing that one hole where Xavier Casarilla is the DH. 8 righties in the lineup for Chatham, so at some point you might switch over to a couple lefties off the bench.
2-2. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Fastball blows by Maldonado at 94 miles an hour. 2 outs here in the 3rd. 5th strikeout of the day for Tejeda. He faces Nolan Schubert now with a runner on second and 2 outs. Still 1-0 Wareham. Starters in yesterday's game who are not starting today in game 1. Martin Grudgelonic, Mez, Kent, and Weatherholt. Catching position, just like pitching, is equally important for today's game. First pitch to Schubert, fouled back to the screen, 0-1.
And the way that Martin Grudzelonic, Kent, and Weatherholt all swung the bat last night, you wouldn't be surprised if there's a key moment that fits them at the plate to see a late pinch hit opportunity. Chatham would love to get this game 1 victory. If you can get one of the 2 today, you walk away perfectly happy, and you try everything you can if you're in the first game to try and go ahead and get that, because you don't know what is in store, at least pitching-wise, for game 2.
0-1 pitch. Misses high and away for ball 1. There's only one other game in the Cape League today that doesn't involve the Chatham Anglers. It's a pretty important one for the A's. Brewster is at YD for a 4:45 start at Red Wilson Field. The Anglers trail the Whitecaps by 7 points for the last playoff spot. Pitch. Grounded to the right side. Caulfield fields. Second baseman over to first in time to retire Schubert and end the 3rd inning. The A's get 1 hit in the 3rd, a single from Xavier Casarilla, but cannot advance him from first base. No runs on 1 hit. 1 runner left on. The A's are scoreless through 3 full innings. As we advance to the top of the 4th inning, the Wareham Gatemen lead 1-0 over the Chatham A's. Batters 5, 6, and 7 due up for Wareham against Jack Sokol on the mound. It's Chatham A's baseball on the Cape Cod Baseball Network.
Sports Radio, play-by-play. Go A's, Chatham on GRC. What I want, you got, and it might be hard to handle, but like a flame that burns a candle, the candle feeds the flame. Yeah, what I got, full stock of thoughts and dreams to scatter, and you pull them all together, and I can't explain. Oh yeah, well, you make my dreams come true.
Top of the fourth inning at Veterans Field. 1-0 Wareham on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. And here on play-by-play for the middle innings, my friend, Andrew Selover.
All right, Joe. Jack Sokol back on the bump, facing 5, 6, and 7. First pitch to J.C. Cologne. Breaking ball, misses just inside. Cologne bends out of the way. 1-0 the count. Fourth inning of work for Jack Sokol is 1-0. His guide on the infield, right behind the pitcher's mound. Maldonado from second calls everybody off, shields the sun, and makes the play for the first out in the fourth.
The left fielder, number 4, Grant Sheridan.
Joe, the sun presents an interesting element that the Anglers have not had to face yet at Veterans Field. Straight up in the sky, and most players out there wearing sunglasses to shield their eyes.
The sun sets behind the left field trees.
First pitch, Sherrod cuts right through it. Strike one.
So in the seventh inning, the only players that have to battle the sun are the catcher and the hitter for the most part.
0-1. Just missed outside. 1-1 the count. Again, we heard that growl behind the plate from Jeff Merzel, but no strike call. 1-1. Is laced to second, over the head of Maldonado into the right center field gap. Wolfert quickly gets to it. He holds Sherrod to just a single. But there's a base runner on in the fourth with a one-out base knock from Grant Sherrod for Rene Lastris. Talking to a few of the players pregame, they said the day game might present even more challenges for hitters just to find the ball out of the pitcher's hand. There is no true batter's eye at Veterans Field. First pitch, just missed outside to Lastris, 1-0. There's a white house out behind center field along with a white flagpole. 1-0, first to throw over to first. Not in time, still 1-0. And so some of the players were saying it's a little tough to pick up that baseball, Joe, out of the pitcher's hand. And with the sky not being dark like it is at night, might be even tougher. 1-0 is flared towards shallow center field. Back goes Maldonado. He's halfway out towards the outfielders and makes the running play over his head. 2 outs in the fourth.
Maybe they need to use the fog balls we have up here.
I guess. Bryce Martin Grudzelanek said with the fog this morning, it would have been even tougher. Daylight and fog, but the fog has disappeared, at least for our first game today. Throw over to first again, nearly gets away, but Wilhoit makes a diving stab to keep it on the infield. Sherrod again back safely. Bobby Bozer, the last hope for Wareham in the top of the fourth. First pitch is popped up towards right center field, drifting in. Wolfert lays out, he can't get there. Got a bad read off the bat. He gets the ball in quickly, a stop sign for Sherrod at third base. But Wareham keeps the inning going on a misread in right field by Wolfert. He stood still for about 3 seconds, thought it was coming right at him, then realized it was tailing towards the line, ran after it, laid out, but missed it by a good 2 feet. Ends up as a double for Bobby Bozer. And instead of remaining a 1-0 game, Jack Sokol has to deal with 2 runners in scoring position against the 9-hole hitter Dorian Gonzalez. First pitch finds the outside corner, 0-1.
Sokol was in a similar spot in the first inning when he had runners on second and third and no outs to start today's game.
A right-on-left matchup. Defense pretty straight up, 0-1. Bends outside, 2-1 the count. Sokol stranded 2 in scoring position back in the third and 1 back in the first. The righty's 1-1. High, ball 2. Sokol still not responsible for a run yet, although he would be responsible if either Sherrod at third or Bozer at second came around to score here in the fourth. Only run charged to Gabe Davis. 2-1. Bounces in, glove stopped by Melendez. 3-1 the count. Sokol above 70 pitches here in his 4th inning of work. Started the first with runners at second and third after a fog out, courtesy of Gabe Davis, and nobody out. 3-1. That's the outside black. The count is full. One of those 2 runs, Nick McLean scored to make it 1-0, and that's where we currently stand. 1 run, 5 hits, no errors for the Gatemen. No runs, 2 hits, no errors for the A's. 3-2 is fouled out of play to the left of us, high above Diamond's side, third baseline, and onto the next property. A house with an overlooking balcony. Nobody out there today, though, Joe. Might not have gotten the memo of a 1 p.m. game. Another 3-2. Cut on and miss, strike 3. Once again, Jack Sokol leaves Gatemen in scoring position. After a misplay in right by Wolfert, he works around it and leaves Grant Sherrod stranded at third base and Bobby Bozer at second. No runs on 2 hits, no errors, and 2 men left on base for Wareham. Still 1-0 in favor of the visitors halfway through 4 at Veterans Field.
Chatham on TRC, Cape Cod.
Like tell you about now, baby. You know she comes around. Just about 5 feet 4. From her head to the ground. You know she comes around here just about midnight. She make her feel so good, love. She make her feel alright. And her name is G. L. Whoa.
Time for the bottom of the 4th from Veterans Field on Game 1 of a doubleheader. First game between Chatham and Wareham. Currently 1-0 Gatemen headed to the bottom half of 4. I'm Andrew Selover with Joe Puccio here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Tyler Wolfert leads things off. First pitch. Breaking ball lands in the zone. Strike 1. Still Yoel Tejeda on the mound for Wareham. The starter, 0-1, is lifted out of play behind home plate, 0-2. Brett Wozniak was supposed to start this game when it was originally started back on the 10th, but we didn't even make it to the bottom of the 1st, so Wozniak didn't even start, and Tejeda began the bottom of the 1st today. 0-2. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Wolfert mowed down on 3 pitches in the bottom of the 4th. A 6th strikeout so far for Tejeda. Tejeda was coming off his worst appearance of the summer with Wareham when he allowed 6 runs in 3 innings against Falmouth 7 days ago. First pitch, outside, ball 1 to Will Hoyt. But so far, Tejeda, no runs through 3 1/3. Longest outing of the summer with Wareham. 1-0. At the knees, slider for strike 1. Will Hoyt so far today, 0 for 1. He struck out looking to end the first. 1-1 pitch. Cut on and missed. 1-2. Trace Will Hoyt last played 2 days ago, and the loss to Brewster shortened by rain was 0 for 2 with 2 Ks. The 1-2 pitch rises high above the numbers. 2-2 the count. Will Hoyt helped Lipscomb reach the NCAA tournament this year. 3rd ever appearance. 2-2 pitch. Misses inside. No, he's rung up with a fastball at 95. A second strikeout looking for Will Hoyt, and there's 2 down with nobody on in the 4th.
Tejeda's having his way with the Anglers today. 7 punch-outs now.
Aiden Miola, the 3rd man to the plate in the 4th for Chatham. He waits and takes on the outside corner, strike 1. Aiden Miola began the season, Joe, batting with a Jackson Holiday inscripted wood bat, but he's since had to move on. 0-1. Cut on and miss. Goes down to 1 knee, quickly 0-2. Miola and Derek Fabian played back in high school in a summer league down in Orlando with Jackson Holiday, former #1 overall pick. 0-2. Bounced foul down the 3rd base line behind the back of acting manager and 3rd base coach Marty Lees.
When Aiden Miola received one of his 2 concussions this past fall, Jackson Holiday was in the hospital with Aiden Miola.
Said it's really cool to see one of your close friends go on to all the success he's had so far. 0-2 taken low in the dirt. Change up 1-2. Holiday, the top prospect right now in Major League Baseball. Just got the call up to Double-A Bowie in the Orioles farm system. 1-2 pitch. Is skied out of play down the first base line towards the playground over the head of all the Gatemen on the first step of the dugout. Still 2 outs and nobody on in the bottom of the 4th. 1-0 Gatemen over the Anglers. Another 1-2 on the way. Low in the dirt. Another breaking ball taken by Miola. 2-2 the count. Long battle and a right-on right. 2-2 pitch. Cut on and missed. How about 3 strikeouts to retire the side in the 4th for Tejeda? He's mowed down 8 Anglers through 4 innings, and Chatham still trails it 1-0. Top of the 5th coming up next. Jack Sokol will take the bump once more for the Anglers when we return here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network.
Chatham on TRZ, Cape Cod.
You get a shiver in the dark, it's raining in the park, but meantime, sound of the river, you stop and you hold everything crashing in other places. But the horns, they blowing that sound.
Top of the fifth from Veterans Field. Jack Sokol stays on the mound, 74 pitches in to a, in theory, start, but not technical start against the Gatemen here today. Picked up in the top of the first due to fog. First pitch. High and away, ball one, facing the top of the lineup, Nick McLean. Just the second at bat against Sokol for McLean. The 1-0. On the outside corner, strike one. McLean and Caulfield, 1 and 2 in the lineup, were the two batters to play back on the 10th before fog hit. 1-1. Is lifted out of play over our heads, high above Diamond's side, third baseline, 1 and 2. So Sokol not technically the starter and currently scoreless, although Wareham leads at 1-0. That run charged to Gabe Davis. 1-2. In the dirt, 2-2 the count. Jack Sokol, not a stranger to the Gatemen. His 2-2 misses inside, 3-2 the count. Made 3 starts for Wareham last summer here on Cape Cod. A 9.72 ERA. The 3-2 misses outside, ball 4. Second walk of the afternoon for the righty out of Pittsburgh. Leadoff man is on for the first time against Sokol. Second time technically in the game. McLean led it off with a single 8 days ago. Garen Caulfield digs in. Throw over to first. Tag applied. Not in time by Will Hoyt. Bullpen starting to get warm down the left field line, and the first pitch is cranked out towards deep left center field. Over goes McDonald in the gap, shy of the track. He grabs it for the first out. Grant Hussey due up now from the left side, and now Marty Lees comes out of the third base dugout, quickly gives the point down the left field line, and that ends the day for Jack Sokol. Joe, if you're Marty Lees, you have to be pleased with the innings that the righty gave you.
Given that Chatham is short on arms for today's game, and you also have another 9-inning contest against Falmouth at 7 p.m., you needed a quality, quote-unquote, start from Jack Sokol, and that's exactly what Marty Lees and the Anglers got.
He goes 82 pitches and gives you 4 1/3 today. Gets a round of applause from the home faithful at Veterans Field. A Chatham Bars Inn call to the bullpen brings on Xander Sechrist. He faces Grant Hussey with 1 on and 1 out in the 5th when we come back to Veterans Field.
Chatham on TRC, Cape Cod. Coming out of my cage and I've been doing just fine. Gotta be down because I want it all. It started out with a kiss, how did it end up like this? It was only a kiss, Now I'm falling asleep and she's calling a cab while he's having a smoke and she's taking a drag. Now they're going to bed and my stomach is sick and it's all in my head, but she's touching his chest. Now he takes off her dress. Now let me go. And I just can't look, it's killing me and taking control. Jealousy turning saints into the sea, swimming through sick lullabies, choking on your alibis. But it's just the price I pay. Destiny is calling me. Open up my eager eyes, 'cause I missed the bright side. I'm coming out of my cage and
The Tennessee Volunteer Xander Sechrist takes the mound for Chatham lefty out of Buford, Georgia, takes over for Jack Sokol in the 5th. A left-on-left matchup to begin for Sechrist out of the bullpen. Facing off against Grant Hussey, Nick McLean stands at first with 1 out in the 5th and a 1-0 lead for Wareham. Sokol goes 4 1/3, currently charged with no runs but responsible for McLean. Sechrist deals in the dirt, ball 1. 3 hits, 2 walks, and 5 strikeouts for Jack Sokol in 4 1/3. 1-0. Hits the outside corner 1-1. Sokol will get no decision today, as Gabe Davis is currently in line for the loss, responsible for the first run of the contest. 1-1 instead of pickoff throw to first. Well late, no tag applied. Joe Xander Sechrist told us a couple days ago that, among other things, he is not a big pickoff guy, although he is a lefty, but when he sees the pickoff sign, he just throws it over there. It's up to the runner as to what happens. 1-1 is hit high, out of play over our heads. 1-2. But that's worked so far. 2 pickoffs in 3 appearances for the lefty.
He said that he doesn't understand why the pickoff move works, which is just strange how a D1 pitcher just doesn't know that. But the lefty has that deceiving move.
1-2, runner goes, misses high and hits the front forearm of Hutsey. Sechrist loses the 3-hole hitter for Wareham despite leading in the count 1-2. There's 2 on for Corey Morton, the cleanup hitter. It's been a rocky couple of appearances for Xander Sechrist with Chatham, although last time out was by far his best outing. Faced just 1 over the minimum at Falmouth in 2 scoreless innings of work. He looks back to second, first pitch to Morton. Cut on and missed. Sechrist avenged a prior appearance at Falmouth, his first outing on Cape Cod, when he went 1 inning and surrendered 7 runs. Said it was all about getting over the hump. And he gets another swing and a miss from Morton, quickly 0-2. Maldonado standing just 5 feet behind and to the right of second base. Fabian just hinted over towards the bag a little bit. Double play depth. 0-2 pitch. Wave and a miss, strike 3. 3 pitches and a first strikeout for Xander Sechrist. 3 strikeouts in 3 plate appearances for Corey Morton. Hear Todd Shelton from the Chatham dugout saying just a ground ball away from rolling a double play and escaping the inning. J.C. Colon, the latest batter to the plate for Wareham, 5th man of the inning. First pitch, strike 1, looking over the heart. Colon, a senior from Missouri, facing the senior Sechrist out of Tennessee. Oh, 1. Way upstairs, it tips off the glove of Melendez, and both runners advance. Melendez fooled by a breaking ball that didn't break, and he couldn't quite get the whole glove up there. That eliminates the force at both second and third. 1 out, and Wareham threatening here in the 5th. Rather, 2 outs. 1-1. Strike 2, taken. Joe, the Gatemen have had plenty of opportunities, but left a lot of men on so far.
Second time that they've had runners on second and third. Just in today.
1-2 pitch from Sechrist. Just bounced foul. Colon way out in front, but he got the end of the barrel to it to stay alive.
In the last half inning, Wareham had runners on second and third. left them stranded. Now, right now, runners on second and third with 2 outs.
Last night, both teams left 12 men on base. 5 through 4 for Wareham. Another 1-2. Again, spoiled at the plate. That time in on the hands of the righty Cologne, but he wasted it back to the backstop. Sechrist in the windup, his 1-2. Misses inside, it pops out of the glove of Melendez, but just 2 feet to the left of home plate. No advancement from either runner. 2-2 the count. Hussey at second, McLean at third, and a 1-0 Wareham lead. Sechrist deals and misses high. Count run full on a fastball at 90 miles per hour. Grant Sherrod waits on deck. 1 for 2 with the single today. Cologne 0 for 2. In search of a big base hit to blow this open. 3-2 pitch. Wave and a miss, strike 3. Fist pump from Marty Lees in the third base dugout. Sechrist leaps over the third base line and receives high fives on the way back to the Chatham dugout. The lefty out of Tennessee comes out of the bullpen and leaves 2 runners on. Hussey at second and McLean at third. No runs on no hits, no errors. 2 men left on for the Gatemen. We're halfway home here from Veterans Field. 1-0 Wareham over Chatham.
The Cape's leader, sports radio play-by-play. Go A's! Chatham on TRC. Cape Cod. Oh, we're halfway there. Oh, give it all a prayer. Take my hand, we'll make it, I swear. Oh, give it all a prayer. Tommy's got his 6th string high. Now he's holding in what he used to make it talk so tough. It's tough. Cheetah dreams are running away. She cries in the night time and whispers, baby, it's okay.
Halfway through here at Veterans Field, and it's 1-0 Wareham over Chatham in another pitcher's duel between these 2 squads. I'm Andrew Selover with Joe Puccio on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. And before we get to action in the bottom of the 5th, Joe, let's get a quick check of Major League Baseball scores presented by the Chatham Bars Inn.
Well, it's 2:20 on the East Coast. And on a Tuesday, there are no games actively happening. But we do have probable pitchers for today. Alek Manoah toes the slab for the Toronto Blue Jays. The Blue Jays are hosting the Padres at 7:07. Manoah making his 2nd start since returning from the minors.
Yoel Tejeda back on the mound. First pitch to McDonald. Low, ball 1.
Manoah in his first start on July 7th against Detroit pitched 5 innings, gave up 5 hits on a run with 8 Ks. Alek Manoah, a member of the 2018 Chatham team.
1-0. Upstairs, ball 2.
Manoah's 2018 Chatham A's fell to these Wareham Gatemen in the Cape Cod Championship Series. Well, we're playing a resumed game today, and there's also a resumed game in the majors today.
2-0 pitch. Wave and a miss. Huge hack from McDonald. 2-1.
The Giants and the Reds knotted up at 2. Yesterday's game was suspended due to rain in the bottom of the 8th inning.
2-1 from Tejeda. Dots the outside corner. 2-2.
That game will be resumed at 5:40 Eastern Time in a 2-2 game between the Giants and Reds. No Blake Sable in the lineup for San Francisco.
We'll have more from the Major League scoreboard tonight in Game 2 of our doubleheader. Wareham and Falmouth and Chatham. 2-2, check swing. McDonald lays off, according to first base umpire Mike Lum. The count is full. Chatham Bars Inn, sponsoring that Major League Baseball scoreboard check.
Yeah, it'll be more extensive in their 7 p.m. game.
Commodores and A's. 3-2. Up and in, ball 4. And Chatham has the leadoff man on for the first time since the first inning. And immediately, 2 Gatemen sprint out of the first base dugout down to the bullpen to begin action.
From pit number 50,
first walk of the day from Tejeda. 1 hit by pitch as well. How about 8 strikeouts? And that brings Ryan Smythe out of the first base dugout. Only 3 warm-up pitches in for a righty for the Gatemen down the right field line. So likely not a pitching change yet, Joe, but probably just trying to give that bullpen more time to get ready. 8 and 9 due up next for Chatham before flipping the order over. For the Anglers, struggling to find offense against Tejeda. Lots of swing and miss so far.
8 strikeouts from Anglers batters in today's game. The farthest that any base runner has gone to is second base. It was Xavier Casarilla back in the first inning.
James Hepp, a righty freshman out of UCLA, is the warming up pitcher down the line for Wareham. Meeting over. Tejeda stays in. On the right half of the rubber, facing Melendez. First pitch, squares, pulls back, and it lands at the knees, strike 1. Not easy when Tejeda's still zipping it in there. 92 miles per hour on the fastball. Looks to first with 1 peak, out of the stretch. 0-1, again squared, and laid down to the right of the mound. It's fielded, no, out of the glove, now recuperated and thrown to first in time. Melendez retired. It hit off the edge of the glove of Tejeda and rolled closer to the foul line, and then he grabbed it and threw to first. By a half step, he beat Melendez, but the catcher for Chatham gets the job done. He moves the runner McDonald to scoring position with 1 out.
Yeah, he still gets the job done. That for a moment there, he might have been safe over at first base.
Derek Fabian bats from the right side, a Gatemen killer last night. 3 for 5 in the 9-hole. First pitch, half swing, he went around. Fastball upstairs, and Fabian could not lay off. Two runs scored and an RBI in the 6-3 win in 10 innings less than 24 hours ago. Right on right matchup, 0-1 pitch. Pumps the mitt with a slider, 0-2. Fabian thought it missed high, but it clipped the top of the zone. 1-0 Wareham over Chatham in the bottom of the 5th. Tying run standing 180 feet away in the form of Zach McDonald with 1 out. 0-2 pitch to Fabian. Wave and a miss, strike 3. 3 pitches, and Chatham's shortstop is down on strikes. There's 2 outs for Xavier Casarilla. 9th strikeout for Tejeda, who's 1 out away from putting himself in a spot to possibly win today's game. Has to get through 5 because he is the technical starter to be eligible, and his team up by 1. First pitch to Casarilla. Low with the slider, ball 1. Xavier Casarilla, the only Angler yet to be retired in an at-bat by Tejeda. 1 for 1 with a hit by pitch and a single. 1-0. Is hammered high in the air towards right field. Morton stays where he is, drifts to his left, and grabs it with 2 hands to end Chatham's scoring threat in the 5th. The Anglers strand a leadoff walk over at second base. Zach McDonald left 80 feet away. After a sac bunt moved him over, Fabian struck out, and Casarilla flies out to right. Tejeda now in line for the win. He's through 5 scoreless, and the Anglers still trail the Gatemen 1-0 through 5 on the Cape Cod Baseball Network.
Chatham A's on the air.
got so down and out in Frisco, tired of the pills and the rain. I picked up headed for the sunshine. I left a good thing behind. Seemed all of our love was in vain. Now my baby's coming in on the Tucson train. I come here looking for a new life, one I wouldn't have to explain. That voice that keeps me awake at night, one little piece would make everything right. If I could just turn off my brain. But now my baby's coming in on the Tucson train.
First full inning of work for Xander Sechrist on the mound for Chatham. Faces 6, 7, and 8 in the Wareham lineup in the top of the 6th. That begins with Grant Sherrod and the Gatemen leading 1-0. First pitch hits the outside corner against the righty, 0-1. I'm Andrew Selover alongside Joe Puccio with you for most of the afternoon into evening today from Veterans Field. 0-1. Just missed below the knees, 1-1. We're an hour and a half into game number 1 in the top of the 6th with Wareham in front of Chatham 1-0. 1-1 from Sechrist. Just missed the outside corner, 2-1. Game 2 scheduled for 7 p.m. between Falmouth and Chatham. We'll have that one for you as well. 2-1 pitch. Is laced towards deep right center field. Back goes McDonald. He camps under it, shy of the track, and grabs it for the first out. Hit on a line, but not with the power necessary. And Sherrod becomes the first out of the top of the 6th. Going to take a heck of an effort to regather for the A's after this first game and come prepared at 7 p.m., Joe, for 2. First pitch at the top of the zone for strike 1 to Lastris, because in a normal